Hello, and welcome to Fusion Writing, where building character meets creating structure. This is Tuesday of our Zettelkasten week, and this is our map day where we get into a lot of the fun of what we're going to do with our Zettelkastens this month. So without further ado, Victoria, you want to take us away?
Absolutely. Okay, so here we are. We're in the Zettelkasten week. This is the week where we talk about how to take what we've worked on in the prior weeks and how that might play out in the filing and note boxing part of the system. So in the first week, we talked about our protagonist. That's your main character, the hero, the shero of your story, the person that's driving the story forward. With that said, that's obviously in a traditional kind of conflict-driven or a challenge-driven story. The counterpoint to that person, which we talked about in week 2, is the villain. The villain is your ultimate bad guy. In the story that we've been describing and the ways that we've talked about building it, you have your protagonist as your driver, and your protagonist has some quality upon which you build out your villain. So you might even begin with your villain is better at this thing or has this quality in much more quantity than your protagonist does. And thereby that allows you to make the shift. Maybe the flaw in your villain causes him to start to lose his grip on that quality. And that's what allows your protagonist to rise up and end up winning the story. However you build out that relationship, those are the decisions that you have to make in the writing. But when it comes to the note cards, this is where the magic happens. Because you're going to start with your protagonist cards, right? You're going to have that character's name on it. You're going to have some of their specific details, but you're certainly going to list out those values and flaws that are driving them through the story. Then for your villain, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to list out your villain's key points, key values, key flaws, and you can look at those against each other in the cards and see, did I make that corollary strong enough? Are they complementary? Do they fit together? Can I see how when this person starts to change or experience their challenges and work through them, is it nicely affecting the conflict or the leverage that they have over this person? So it's just about defining out those relationships. This is another place where your note cards can be gold. Because let's say you grab a third blank card. This one isn't blank. I'll flip it over. Oh, not blank on the back either. Look at that. You grab a blank card and you start to draft out, just brainstorm out, how might I work through the conflicts and the challenges between these two characters? So by using that third card as an exercise to physically see, if this person does this, it could go this way or it could go that way. Which one do I want to choose? You're literally just plot modeling or sketching out on your note card what could happen and what that might look like. Then when you go to do your filing, you're going to use the box that you've built for your story. I'm not going to get heavily into that because we'll talk about that later, but you're just going to start looking at how am I going to get back to this information? Well, in your index, the most obvious point for your protagonist might be use their name. If this gal's name is Jennifer Smith, you're going to go to S, you're going to file it under Smith, Jennifer, label her the protagonist, and add the title of the story. And then you're going to assign those numbers, just like you would any other Zettelkasten card. Then you do the same thing for the villain. You go to that villain's name. Let's call him Robert Black. You're going to go to B under Black, Robert, label him the villain, and you're going to give the name of the story, and then assign the address, just like you would any other card that you're putting in your Zettelkasten. In these early stages, when you're just building out these two characters and what this story might look like, you're just building out their cards and stick it under their name in your index. Because remember, in my box, I use primarily all of my cards as part of my fiction writing. So for me, filing it under those characters' names makes perfect sense. For you, a second option might be you use the title of the story. If you already know the title, go to the first word of the title of the story, write down your title, and then file those characters underneath that title, maybe alphabetically. These are just two examples of the many ways that you can install these things in your box. You can always find your way back. If you're filing it under the title of the story, you're going to take that third card that you created that modeled out the directions the story might go, and you're going to install that card right there as well. That way you have your key characters and the thing that's making them interrelated as a protagonist and a villain all right there under your story title. So that's my tip for today. The simplest way in the beginning to keep these ideas together so that you can pull them and look at them when you're ready to sit down and start developing or writing is just file them under the title. If you don't have a title yet, give it a working title. The thing that's key is whatever in your mind is going to take you back to that set of cards, that's where you need to index it. That way you can always find your way back because you know what you're going to think of when you go to look for them. Then you just go to that keyword and grab the cards. So that is my tip for today. Build out those characters and then decide where you're going to put them in your box so that you can find your way back. My advice is the title is the simplest solution, or something, some keyword that takes you back to that particular story. So I will leave you there for today. When we get to next week, we'll talk about going and grabbing those cards we've just filed in the box and using them for writing. But for now, just get those things down on your cards and put them away for safekeeping in the box, indexed nicely so you can find your way back. With that, I will throw it over to Kathleen.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. I sure appreciate those guidelines for keeping my hero and my villain closely related so that the story can show how the changes in one affect the changes in the other. I really like that idea. Well, what I'm going to cover today is a sample main card. It's a real main card from my system that for the character trait of humility. And I'm going to talk about the kinds of attributes that you might think about when you're thinking of humility and how you might file them with respect to the card on humility. And for that, I'm going to go over to my down-facing camera, but I want to introduce a diagram that I'm going to show you. This diagram that was created for me, it's called Figure A on the character traits, and I'll show it to you when we get to the down-facing camera. This was created for me by Mel Jeffcoat. He has a YouTube channel called Industrial Alchemy, and I'll put the link in the show notes. And he's exploring a logic system that was developed by a philosopher from the Middle Ages, Ramon Lull. And Ramon Lull lived in the late 1200s, early 1300s, and he developed a system that very systematically helps you compare things so that you make sure you touch all the bases. And he offered to, he has YouTube videos out on this method, and he offered to his newsletter subscribers that if we wanted to give him our list of touch points, he would make one of these figure A's for us. So he made one for me on the character traits. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to talk about how that could be put into a Zettelkasten. So come on over to the down-facing camera with me, and I'll show you, first of all, the main card that I made on humility. Okay, here's my card on humility. And what I want to go over with you are all of the fields that occur, all of the elements that occur on a main card so that you can understand how to best create main cards in your system when you want to capture ideas over information. Sometimes information is paramount in your system, but sometimes it's the ideas that you really want to capture. And this is how to capture ideas on a main card. You're going to need 4 sections plus a card number. The first section, the paragraph that I've got in black ink, is the information that you want to capture and remember from your main card. So mine is about humility, and it's really about more the definition of humility. It should be familiar to you from the 2 lessons that we did earlier this month on humility. And that is that humility is about coming to terms with things about ourselves that were imposed on us without our control. And these things can be advantages or disadvantages. That's really what humility is all about. How do we react to what we didn't bring to ourselves? That was kind of either handed to us on a silver platter or dumped on us, like the mushroom people. Then the second part of a main card is how are you going to use it? How do you react to it? What does this mean for what you're doing with it? And for me, because I'm using it for story writing, I want to talk about how it relates to my character. Does my character feel prideful over what was given to him as a gift? Does he feel ashamed of attributes he did not give himself and has no control over? And how does his reaction affect his story? So these are the first two areas, the information and the reaction. Down here is, where did this information come from? And it came from my YouTube course, Reawaken the Dream of Writing, lesson 32. If you want to go look up the lesson on humility, it was lesson 32. And then across the top comes a very important line. I call it the tagline. And this line should bring back to your memory everything on this card. It should be like a magic phrase that makes it all come back to mind. And for me, that phrase was, humility accept what's given without our control. And then I underlined the key words that are the most important words in that tagline: humility, accept, control. And so I indexed this card using this entire tagline under humility, accepts, and control. And then every card needs a card number. This happens to be my card number. I'm not going to push too hard on what number you give your card, just wherever it fits best in your system. If you follow Victoria's, she has some card number examples. I've given some category examples in the past that you can use. This just coincidentally happens to be the card number that this card has in my system. Then from here on out, any card that you make about humility will tie into this card. So what areas might you want to think about with regard to humility? And this is where we get this fun chart that Mel Jeffcoat was kind enough to make for me. And this again is based on the work of Ramon Lull. Around the ring here, we have all of the parts and aspects of a character trait that we need to think about to be able to know that we've completely studied that character trait or completely thought about that character trait. Because Ramon Lull was all about a way of thinking in an organized manner so that you know you thought about everything you need to think about. Well, with every character trait, the most important thing is the struggle. And the struggle of humility is the struggle to either come to terms with what was dumped on you or to take in proper perspective what was handed you on a silver platter. So that's the struggle, to have the right relationship to those things that we don't get to control. The victory state of any character trait, but humility in this case, is achieving that proper relationship to those things, having gratitude for the things that we've been given and acceptance for the things that we didn't like. The lost state, because humility is a balanced trait, there are two kinds of lost states. One lost state is getting all puffed up over the stuff that you didn't do for yourself but got handed to you, and the other lost state is getting all depressed over what you inherited that you did not do. Awareness, this has to do with where on the character profile diagram does the character trait live. Remember that rudder position where you get to make a choice? That's a level of awareness. So is the wing position, the anchor position, the pinnacle position, the base position. Remember all of those? Those are all levels of awareness. Scale has to do with how important in the story is it? What's at stake here? How much does the story turn on the characters being able to make the right decision on the struggle? Will your hero win and achieve the victory state? What will happen if he doesn't win and ends up in the lost state? How will that affect what happens? How important is that to your story? Circumstances beyond your character's control, very, very closely tied to humility, but they are involved really in every character trait because there are always circumstances that are going to make it more difficult for a character to achieve victory in whatever struggle you're dealing with. Limiting self-beliefs can be something that your hero has to overcome, and it could be a fatal weakness that is going to topple your villain. So this is a very important aspect of a character trait. Overwhelm, just having too much coming at you at once. It can either drive out the ability to properly deal with a struggle, or in the case of your villain, you could just, might be a way of overwhelming your villain, is just by coming at him with too many challenges at once. Resistance is a funny one. That's the one where it ought to be smooth sailing ahead. You've got the time to do it. You have the ability to do it. You've made plans to do it, and it isn't happening. What is going on? And every struggle of every character trait has the potential to have to deal with resistance. So this chart for me just reminds me of all the things that I want to think about. And each of those areas are going to potentially be sub cards under whatever card number you give your card on humility. So you can pause the video while you can see all of these aspects of any character trait and think about each one and consider making some additional main cards using all of these aspects of a main card and filing them in the area of 5227 where they relate to the character trait of humility. So that's what I have to share about the Zettelkasten for this week. Give it a try. Make some cards for yourself and see what you can come up with for your analysis of humility. Anything to add, Victoria?
Oh, no, that was amazing. Guys, you have such a rich resource here, and we always like to remind you to take full advantage of it. Kathleen has a fancy address card that I will ask her to show up. Join us over in LiLLiPub. Every Saturday, we meet for sprints together. We have a workshop at 1 p.m. Central. The sprints go up at noon Central. And we just co-write and then we talk about our work and we talk about the things that we cover in these lessons. It is such a valuable resource that quite frankly may not be there forever, because as we get bigger, we won't be able to have these kinds of events as often as we do. So get in on the ground floor and come join us. Share your questions, share what you're working on, because we're learners too, and we learn from each and every one of our members. So try out what we've talked about today, because in the end, so much of this process is discovered because it's trial and error. I'm going to try this way and see if this works for me. And then the things that don't work, you discard those and you add new ones and you keep building your system. And that, my friends, is the secret of the Zettelkasten. It's just sticking with it and building out that system so that you have that second little brain should you need to lean on it. So do join us over in LiLLiPub. We look forward to meeting you there.
Thank you, Victoria. Yes, please come on over to lillipub.org. We would love to see you. We also, besides our Saturday gathering on Fusion Writing, we also have gatherings on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Zettelkasten, where we answer all manner of questions. So if you're confused about the Zettelkasten, there's 2 more Zoom calls that you could join in a week. LiLLiPub gives you an incredible value for barely more than a premium cup of coffee a month. So come on over and join us in lillipub.org. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.